Welcome to the First Lady Point of View show, everyone. I'm your host, First Lady Felicia K. This is where you can expect culture, music, news, reviews, fashion, and exclusive interviews. So stick around after this short break. We got an exclusive that you don't want to miss.
You tuned in. It's the First Lady Point of View. First Lady Point of View. You tuned in. It's the First Lady Point of View. First Lady Point of View. Culture, music, news, reviews. You tuned in. It's the First Lady Point of View. You tuned in. First Lady Point of View.
Welcome back to the show, everyone. We're going to talk a little bit about victim advocacy and amongst other things, but I'm going to let this young lady that we have here tell you all about it. Her name is Anabel, and she's from J-Bell. Welcome to the show, Anabel.
Thank you for having me. I
Thank
really
you for
appreciate
being on the
it.
show. I appreciate you. First off, if you feel comfortable with telling everybody your full name.
Sure. My name is Anabel Velasquez.
Okay, and where are you from?
I'm originally from the Bay Area, but we migrated over here.
About how long you been in Sacramento?
Back and forth since 2002, but we've been here since 2015 to stay.
Okay, so I want to get right into it. I know you are the co-founder and the president of J-Bell.
Yes.
What made you start J-Bell, and exactly what is it?
So J-Bell stands for Justice Advocates Battling Exploitation and Lies, and it's a nonprofit that it has a two-pronged or multiple-pronged approach where we want to also support victims of human trafficking, domestic violence, sexual assault, but also lowering recidivism. So if we did our part in educating those that were recently incarcerated by training them so that they can start integrating into society to be, productive members and not go back to the reasons why they were first incarcerated to begin with, we're going to have less victims, but we are very selective when we work with those that were recently incarcerated. Like, we won't work with those that have domestic violent backgrounds or sexual predators, things to that nature.
And if you don't mind me asking, what would be your reason that you choose not to work with those individuals? I mean, I have reasons why I would not, but
absolutely.
I want to know why your organization, what's your stance on why? Is it a liability or?
No, it's because it's personal preference, for one thing. But we also know that, like pedophiles, for example, they don't, they really don't get rehabilitated.
Okay.
Once you cross that boundary, there's no going back. And I am a victim of human trafficking. Okay. Domestic violence, sexual assault as well. So, and that kind of triggers me, but I do know that people change, people can, but when it comes to sexual predators, we have seen time and time again that they really won't change.
Yeah, I mean, that would be my point of view. That would be why I wouldn't, but I just wanted to know if that was where you were coming from with it. That's good to know. Okay, so how long have you had your organization?
We actually just got our 501c3 tax exemption determination just actually in July of this year. So, but I have been advocating for the last 14 years.
Yeah, you've made your round.
Yeah.
All over the place.
Yeah.
So is it because of your background that you chose to do it, or you just saw a need for the space?
Well, I saw that there were a lot of people, just myself included, before, everything had happened to me, that there was a lot of misinformation out there that people weren't aware of. And there's things that parents can do to look for signs and look for those kinds of warning signs amongst, people and their kids as well. When kids are exhibiting certain behaviors, you want to make sure that you look at why they're exhibiting those behaviors and not ignore it.
Okay. So how young were you when you were?
So I was 15 when I was drugged and raped Back then, human trafficking wasn't a term. It was, you got trained, you got sexually assaulted, all of those, you got raped, but it wasn't until last year that I came to actual terms that I was trafficked, because not only was I assaulted by many, many people, they took me from place to place to place. And, there was a lot of different places that they had taken me in a span of 12 hours.
Yeah, and that's definitely trafficking. Yeah.
Yeah.
And like you said, back in the day, they didn't.
They didn't have that term.
Well, good for you. You don't look like what you've been through, I'll tell you that.
I want to turn my mess into a message.
Yeah, right. I'm here for it. So what would you say was the hardest part about being transparent? Like, was there a time when you like struggled with it? Like, I'm gonna talk about this, or what was the hardest part of just finally going out on a limb and saying, okay, this is what I need to do?
So I was on a TV show a few years ago, and I had my face blurred out.
Okay.
And even at that point, I was very, I was more scared of what people were going to think of me. But then it came to a point where I was like, why am I going to continue to share or accept that shame and that blame and carry that when I didn't do anything wrong? So that was the turning point where I was like, no, I refuse to put that shame and blame on myself and carry it. And I wanted to just make sure that it went back to the perpetrators on who it belongs. Because us victims and survivors, really, we carry that. And I don't understand why we are shamed into thinking that it's our fault somehow. We dressed wrong, or we may have been at the wrong place in the wrong time, but really none of that precipitated us, falling victim to what these perpetrators wanted to actually do.
So your perpetrators, are they still out and about?
Yeah.
More than likely doing the same thing?
So this was 30 years ago. So I'm now 45. And so my statute of limitations had passed already. However, because I had been very transparent in what had happened to me, January 4th of this year, Fremont PD actually contacted me and wanted to make an official police report.
Look at that.
And even though I knew that we couldn't take them to court because, again, the statute of limitations had passed, that did something for me. It validated like everything that I had gone through, and it put that into like an actual official report that made me feel like, it wasn't all in my head.
Yeah.
Or, because there are those people that wanted to flip the script and say that it was my fault, or, I should have not been there at that time and whatnot. So,
but it's good that they did that, because, most predators, they repeat
over and over again.
Right?
Yeah.
And your statute might have ran out, but it might be somebody else, because now that the names are there. Mm-hmm. And then when it comes up again, it'll establish a pattern.
Exactly. And
that's good.
I wanted to contact the first perpetrator. I found him on social media, and I wanted to just tell him, like, I hope that what you did to me doesn't happen to your wife or your daughter, because now he's got a daughter that's the same age. But then what good would that do for me? I mean, it might bring me vindication and it might put him on the spot, but really, like, I don't even want to say I forgave. I just moved on.
Moved on. There you go. Yeah.
It's hard.
You don't always have to forgive. I mean, they say forgive and forget, but
yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess it all depends, because when you have trauma, right, that lasts forever, how do you forgive somebody for something that you wake up to and deal with every day?
Exactly. Because even at that point, after that had happened to me, they actually threw me over an overpass.
What?
to try and get rid of me, because my brother was a gangbanger at the time, and they had uncovered my face, towards the end, and they wanted to know what they were going to do to me. And then they realized that I was my brother's sister, and they said that he was going to kill them if he had found out, And so they said, just get rid of me. And they threw me over an overpass. And I actually ended up, by the grace of God, only by the grace of God, that I was able to hook my arm over that railing, and I screamed for my life. And they came back and got me, and they threw me into the trunk of the car, and they threw me onto the driveway, and I was covered in feces. And I had blood all over me, because I was beat up pretty bad. I think I had tried to get away multiple times, but I was bruised. But I had crap all over me. I don't know if I could say that, but
No, go ahead.
yeah, but I had crap all over me. And when I realized later that it was a calculated move so that I could wash off all their DNA. Crazy, right? Yeah, but it also made me feel like what they thought of me.
Yeah.
It really did. And that just sent me on this torrential, self-destructive path where I ended up.
Bet. Yeah.
And, I ended up in domestic violence situations, and, I was a teenage mom. I was just very self-destructive, but that is secondary trauma,
Yeah.
And because of how I felt. And that's why I really have a heart for working with sexual assault victims, survivors, domestic violence, human trafficking, because those are all the things that I had experienced myself. And it's hard for victims to really, connect with other folks if they have not gone through the same things.
Yeah.
Right.
I know it's hard. Well, I thank you for being so transparent. I haven't asked one question yet. It's good conversation, and I'm really grateful that you're sharing your story. We're gonna get ready to take a break though, because I'm gonna let you digest a little bit.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
I know it could be hard, reliving it. I know you do it a lot, but I'm sure it doesn't make it any easier, right?
It's kind of healing in of itself, because I know that God is turning my pain into purpose.
Okay.
That's
the way I'm looking at it.
Yeah, and I know that I had gone through these things. I was angry. I was very angry
I bet.
for a long time. But it's healing. It's cathartic.
Okay. How many kids do you have?
I have 4. Well, 3 biological, and then my niece, who I was raising after my brother passed away. She was murdered 2 years ago. So I'm fighting her. Yeah, I'm fighting her murder case right now too. So
you have boys yourself?
I have my youngest is a son, and so he'll be 19. Yeah, so 3 girls and 1 boy. And a granddaughter.
Oh wow! Look at you, girl, go. Well, we're gonna get ready to go to a break, because we'll get into that a little bit. I don't want to put your kids in it, but I want to talk to you a little bit about your kids and how do they feel about if they know your backstory, and how do they feel about it? Are they extra careful, paranoid? I want to talk about unpack a little bit of that, if you don't mind. Okay. All right. So we're gonna go to a break. You guys don't go nowhere. We're gonna get more into details about J-Bell and Anabel. I want to talk a little bit more about trafficking and all that with her. But right now, I just need to kind of process. It's a lot, I low-key want to cry, y'all. But we'll be right back after this.
First lady point of view. You tuned in.
Eyes forward. Don't drive distracted.
First lady point of view. You tuned in.
Welcome back to the show, everyone. If you're just now tuning in, we've been talking to Anabel about J-Bell and advocacy, human trafficking, victims' rights, and just a whole bunch of other things. We're going to dive right back into where we left off. I wanted to ask you about your past trauma and what you went through. How much of it do your children are adults now, right?
They're adults now, yes.
How much of it do they know, and how do they deal with it? Are they extra, like, paranoid of other people, extra cautious, or tell me a little bit about that.
So I never really incorporated, I didn't really want to share that with them until
get
they
it.
were old enough, I guess you could say. And I didn't, I was a teenage mom and then a single mom at that too. So there's a lot of mistakes that I made, and I didn't want to really say that I was making those mistakes because I was, a teenage mom, a single mom, whatever the case may be. But yeah, they, it's hard for them. It really is, because they see me as their mom and not as an advocate. They're still kind of standoffish about it, but I respect that.
It. Yeah.
Because they don't see me in the same fashion that,
I respect it. It's just, once you go out and start doing your type of work, sometimes people take it back to your kids, and it's not always so pleasant,
right?
When they bring it back. So
and then I tell my kids too, our stories intersect with one another, but I will never share their story because it's their story to tell.
Right, absolutely.
I will just share mine, and and that's it. Because I want to respect them as well, and their privacy as well. I will only share what is about me.
Okay, all good.
Yeah,
I appreciate that. I heard you have a scholarship. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Thank you for bringing that up. We have survivor scholarships. So we have partnered up with the Sterile Processing.
Okay.
And we're also looking for other businesses to partner up with as well. So basically, when I have a survivor that is, of human trafficking or even any kind of sex crimes, a lot of the times they go to selling their bodies or the sex industry because they feel that they don't have enough skills to make it out in the real world. So instead of them going back out into the streets to do what is easy, right? Because if, let's say we have a survivor that has 3 kids, and, she needs to feed them, and nonprofits can provide a $300 gift card for whatever their needs are.
Right.
She's not going to use that for school. She's going to use that for the basic necessities, the anything that is in front of her.
Right.
Shoes, clothes, housing, whatever
Food,
the case may be, right? But she's not going to invest in herself. And so these survivor scholarships will help them invest in their future so that they don't have to fall back onto, going back out into the streets, so to speak.
Okay. And as far as the advocacy program, is it mostly just women that you guys have worked with, or?
So there are a few, mostly women. I have a few victims that are 16, and some that are even as young as 12.
Wow.
So, it's, and then to go back to your question, there are some boys. We are finding that a lot of kids, regardless if they're boys or girls, they're in a vulnerable position. There are predators that are looking for them, and they're going to utilize their vulnerability to their advantage. They're taking advantage of that. A lot of our, victims come from poverty. And so you have these traffickers that search them out and say, you can make quick money. And approaching the boys, they're like, okay, go to the high schools, befriend these girls, bring them over. And then what starts happening is that they start being groomed very, very quickly. And then, that's it. At that point, they fall victim under the prey of that predator, and they start reeling them in and say, hey, you can make a few bucks.
I've been hearing that there are that it's more trafficking starting to happen with the boys. So is that your experience, or more or less what you've seen is they're grooming girls? Because who's going to get a young girl's attention but a young, cute teenage boy, right?
Exactly.
So,
and I've been actually seeing that they've been doing that with boys for a long, long time. It's just more because now we have social media, we have the media. It's easier to relay out there. But yeah, it has been happening. The boys are reeling in the girls. Actually, there was a case where I'll give you an example. There was this boy that, he was a good-looking kid. He had, all the girls all over him. Yeah, he would just reel him in, and he was a foster kid. So, the foster parents they didn't have good agendas for these kids, and so they started trafficking them. They just started
wow.
They just started one day. They spent the night, and then that's when they went out. And people were actually coming in as well, and they were selling them at that point. They were placing ads saying that they had young teenage girls at the house, and the kids were trapped. And all of that was from the boy being the bait, I guess you could say.
Yeah. So, do you run into like dangers as far as reaching out and trying to help people? Do you run into like, I don't know if they still call it pimps, but do you?
They
run
are
into,
pimps.
Okay, well that's what we know them as, right?
Yeah.
From our era. But do you run into that, like when you guys go out to try to advocate and get these victims out of the situation? Do you run into like? Because I know that can be risky as well.
So there's actually a case that I'm working on that is currently, it spans over 4 states right now. This victim, survivor, was trafficked over 4 different states. And they are currently going through, the court process. So I personally haven't had thank God, to deal with the pimps or anything like that. I do take a lot of precautions, though, just to make sure that I don't place myself in that situation. Always make sure that people know where I'm at. I don't post, my locations anywhere because, I do have a target on me at this point, because people don't like what I'm doing. But, I mean, I know that God has me out here for a purpose. And so I feel that, as long as I'm not acting stupid and also doing the same things that I tell people not to do, then I think that I'm going to be okay. But yeah, I do make sure that when I'm working with law enforcement, I make sure that I'm meeting folks at a public place and whatnot without giving too many details. But yeah.
So you do have resources that when you do go out, they know, like you said, law enforcement and things of that nature. You kind of let them know.
Yes, they know where I'm at.
Okay, that's good
what
to
I'm
know.
doing,
That's
and
good to know.
yeah, and then I have Jamie, that makes sure that I don't also make myself, fall my.
No, that's good. You need
too.
that because if they know that you always have somebody with you, that's definitely a good thing. So, didn't you do some work with the district attorney?
Yeah, so I also am one of the founding members for the Placer Justice Foundation.
Okay, talk about that a little bit.
With the Placer County District Attorney's Office. And so we also have the Empower and Resilience Project, which also hails from the Placer County District Attorney's Office. So these are survivor-driven causes and a nonprofit. So that's what I love about the DA's office, because they really look at the lens through the lens of a survivor and a victim. They want to make sure that they support us. And I have been quoted to say that this is the criminal's justice system, and it really needs to be turned around to be a real justice system and not the criminal's paradise that it is right now. Yeah.
Thank you so much for that. It's that quick. It's already over 30 minutes. Just
Already?
that quick. Yeah, but no, we got time, because what we want you to do right now is take this opportunity to look into the camera and tell everybody all your social sites, how they can get in contact with you, whatever you want them to know about what you do and how they can be a part and get involved in it.
So my name is Anabel, and you can catch me on TikTok, on Instagram, and also go to www.ja-bel.org for our website. Connect with us. Let us know if there is anything that we can do for you, and we will definitely reach out. And I have my TikTok handles and my Instagram on the screen.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you once again for being on the show. And then I want to get the co-founder of your organization on the next segment, and we'll talk about the other half, because you guys offer other services as well.
We do.
For men, right?
Yes.
And I want him to come in, and we'll talk about that as well. So when the viewers see this, before they eat me up and ask me why you don't have we got that coming from.
Can I also
Yeah, go
share
ahead.
the other foundations that I'm
Absolutely.
working with?
Go ahead.
So
you could go right here.
So Drive for Impact is also, we do a celebrity golf tournament every year. And if you like to play golf, please go to driveforimpact.org. And we're looking for people to help with that. We do, like I said, a celebrity golf tournament every year. I am with the Blaster Justice Foundation, with the Empower and Resilience Project, and so also Are They Abusive? So we are trying to create a registry for domestic violence restraining orders, because we don't have one now.
Okay.
So that's like Megan's Law.
Okay.
And then we have J-Bell.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Queen, for being on the show, and I look forward to talking to you again. You guys, make sure you utilize those resources. We all know somebody that's affected, whether you're aware of it or not. Trust me, if you ask questions or you pay attention to those little signs that she said, just kind of pay attention to how people are acting out and things of that nature. You'll be surprised at what you can uncover. But make sure you utilize all those resources. Go tap in with the social sites. And yeah, thank you guys for watching. I appreciate you all. Until next time, peace, one love. May God bless your hustle. And we are completely out of here. Reach back for those that are coming up behind you, and pay homage to those who did it before you. It's free, and you'll feel good about yourself. Bye.
You tuned in. It's the First Lady point of view. First Lady point of view. You tuned in. It's the First Lady point of view. First Lady point of view. Culture, music, news, reviews. You tuned in. It's the First Lady point of view. You tuned in. First Lady point of view. It's the First Lady point of view. Tapped in, yeah, we always on time. First Lady Felicia K on the line. You tuned in. First Lady point of view.